Rodriguez is real race talk from Texas. It's the Revved Up Sports Show. Here's Bobby Chaffee and Rodney Rodriguez.
Off we go again, another big Monday. It is the Revved Up Sports Show coming to you from Texas. Hashtag Real Race Talk at Revved Up ATX. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram. And, of course, you are checking in on Facebook, so that's always a good thing. You can catch us on Facebook Live, on YouTube Live, actually even on Periscope tonight. So just lots of different places to catch this. All the archives at RevvedUpSportsShow.com. Another weekend in the books. A little bit of a quieter weekend, and a lot of that, Bobby, was due to we talked about it on the Saturday show. We've got a lot of folks that are a part of this program from the Coastal Bend area down in that Corpus Christi area. So big thoughts to all of those folks. It looked like some people got impacted pretty bad by that.
Yeah, it looks like there's a little bit of damage there as you got a little further south in the valley. So as always, thoughts and prayers down to our friends down there in the valley area. So hopefully you get a chance to recover really quickly on this from Hurricane Hannah.
Yeah, and another one of those where it was, it's so hard to read these tropical storms. I mean, because they're going to tell us one thing, and then you start seeing stuff happen, and it was bad. I mean, it was definitely bad, and then before you knew it, it was done and gone. But I think it hit a little further south than folks thought, and I mean that's fortunate for the Corpus people, but for the folks down in that like our friend John Molise down there in that valley area, that's a tough spot down there.
Yeah, no, that is a tough spot down there. Looks like I lost you for just a second on the audio feed this time, but so far so good in terms of everything that was happening right there. But yeah, I gotta love live radio. Lost the feed for a little bit.
Yeah. I'm having a little trouble with you. I'm not exactly sure what's happening here on your end. It looks like you're hitting on the Facebook feed, but on the audio you're not. So anyway, we'll have to figure out what may be happening with all of that. But this weekend a little bit quieter. I mean, you get Mother Nature happening like that, and that tends to wash some stuff out.
Yeah, it does. I mean, it's an unfortunate thing, but as we said, everybody needs to just really appreciate every race day they got. You never know what it's going to be taken away from COVID or Mother Nature.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very, very tough situation there. But anyway, we're back at it once again. We got to talk about it. I did want to talk about. We didn't really mention this Saturday, Bobby, but we have to. Oh, before we get any further, the program tonight. We are super excited that NASCAR Houston and Advance Auto Parts helping present this show tonight. Of course, they are getting after it. Coming up on Saturday, they're back out with a hot summer night of racing there at HMP. So get on out there and support those folks. Really, really good pavement stuff lined up. And thanks to them for coming aboard on the program here tonight.
Yeah, no, it's always a great thing to have supporters such as and Houston Motorsports Park and their support coming in. So appreciate all the help to give the racetrack and the help out with the show tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. We lost an icon over the. I guess it was Friday. We lost Maurice Petty, and that's something that we didn't talk about. And that's actually what I was going to mention there. And that's man, you want to talk about a big loss for NASCAR. And I mean, when you talk about the Petty Motorsports and everything that they've done, I mean that's really the guy. That's really the guy that made it happen.
Yeah, he was the king's keeper, right, so to speak. Made everything happen over there. I know that when I went to the Hall of Fame back in 2014 was the year that he got inducted, and they had that really kick-ass Hamilton number 40 Superbird there on display. Hall. The reason that car was so fast was the motor building.
Yeah, absolutely. And just a really, really tough loss right there. And I mean, he got 198 of the 200 wins there. When you talk about the shop there out of Randleman, so that really was the guy that made it happen. And a very good career, a very successful career, and you have to appreciate that.
Yeah, no. Obviously, if you can't think of Richard Petty without Dale Lehman and Maurice Petty. So those two guys, pretty much classics when it comes to the ultimate winning combination back there in the late '60s and '70s. So those guys did an outstanding job. But can't say enough about the NASCAR Hall of Fame. If you haven't had a chance to go, you definitely got to go to the Hall of Fame because it's because obviously their stuff has been affected by COVID, but we'll try to get everything racked up with the Hall of Fame. It's a cool place, Roddy. At some point, sometime we're gonna have to get you up there in Charlotte, get you to the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I would definitely like to take a look at that, and just so much that you'll see there. So definitely a spot that you wanna make your way out to. Have to talk about. I mean, I even hate to bring this up, but I saw yesterday. I saw last night we lost a really, really good kid, Judson kid, Bryce Wisdom, and that's a kid that he lived a very short life. It was a 17-year-old kid there out of Judson, played some high school football, and this dude battled a very rare form of cancer, kidney cancer, and he succumbed to that. But gosh, I mean you hate to see that, but that kid was a battler. My goodness.
Yeah, it's always the younger kids, right, that don't know any better. And you see some of the young kids handle the cancer stuff better than the older folks that do because the kids just don't know any better, and they know how to. They just want to fight and they want to continue to live. But sometimes when you see it, unfortunately, with some of the older folks that they get cancer, is they just kind of get down and depressed on themselves. But then it's the young people kind of kick it into gear and make you appreciate the help that you have.
Absolutely. Coming up on the show tonight, we are locked and loaded tonight. We've got a couple of really, really good young guns on this show tonight. We'll talk to Caden Honeycutt coming up at 7 o'clock, and then 7:30 Ben Miklacek. So I like the vibe that we get because it's either we've got young guns or legends or whatever it is, and we got to start filling that middle gap. It seems like on this show.
Yeah, no, we either have the young guns like we got coming tonight, or we got the old established veterans. Last week was a good show, though. That was really good to talk to Casey Johnson and Justin Bonnet, who actually, as we posted today, got the test successfully done that he needed to get done. So he's on the track. I guess he's going to go to Montgomery this weekend, I think, is the game plan.
Yeah, and I did see that it's like breaking news that he's coming back. Of course, you heard it here first last week because we were talking about it right here on the Revved Up Sports Show. But yeah, he's going to get back after it. Did have a good weekend, had a good test, so he's back, and I think. I mean, that's one of those things where you root for him, and hopefully he's going to be able to do what he can. But man, if he could break in there and get a really, really good finish, you have to know that that's something that would make him feel extremely good.
Yeah, no, I mean, if he can come in and get a solid finish, not tear anything up, he would definitely be able to figure it out. So I think it's good just to see the kid back on track again.
Yeah, absolutely. That looking forward to that. That will be coming up. So. Bobby, you and I talked the other day. I mean, it was so weird that we've watched all these racing series, make their reappearance. Everybody's coming back, and you wind up with a free Sunday. And I mean, I sat here and I had stuff to do around the house, and I mean, I wound up getting tied up into Lifetime Movie Network movies, for crying out loud, and finally just had to like step away and go somewhere else. So, but I don't. It's really weird that. That's weird, that everybody wound up off through all this.
It was so weird, the fact that, and you didn't really think about it on that Thursday night cup race when everybody was able to come through and have that race. It kind of dawned on you that, wait a minute, we're 6 days away from the next race, right? I guess it was 9 days away. So it's the closest thing they're going to get to an off season for quite a while, but I guess that's a long trek up there though, from Charlotte back to New Hampshire. That's I'm kind of surprised they were able to get that race in.
Yeah, and we did hear the news on the Austin front. We talked about it on Sunday. I don't know how many Formula One fans tune in to this particular part of the show or anything, but we did hear the news that F1 the U.S. Grand Prix along with Brazil and Canada and those races are all gone. So now we're sitting here. Formula One's having to go back and figure out different ways of how they're going to, restructure their season. But when you look at this, I mean, what a loss for and folks. I know folks may not be the most pleased with the city of Austin and just everything that goes on with the city of Austin, but when you have a $400 million economical loss for the city of Austin and folks that are they're losing jobs, they're losing whether it be temporary gigs out there, these are actually 4 big events that are going away at COTA. I mean, what happens next? I mean, I seriously think, and I know there are folks that are not the biggest fans of Circuit of the Americas for whatever reason, but I mean, I do think that we have a track that is in dire need of something happening right now, and I truly, I didn't say this Saturday, but the future for COTA, man, it is bleak as hell right now.
Yeah, it's really crazy the fact that COTA is in the position it's in. We don't know for sure, but we've continuously heard the rumblings forever about COTA always needing to have those successful events to break even. But obviously, if you take out the events, and there's no telling what might end up happening. I think that the city of Austin is affected by a lot more stuff than what people think. A lot of that is due to the mayor and his ordinances that he's got. So we got to think about stuff like that. It's in the extreme jurisdiction there, or extended jurisdiction of the Austin area. So.
Yeah.
Not lots of, I think it's underrated the impact that facility has on Austin. When you count in the IndyCar race that was brand new, you count in the Formula One Grand Prix, the MotoGP, you count in everything like that, then obviously the economic impact is going to be there. That I think a lot of people just don't want to accept the fact that track has so much pull when it comes to the local economy.
Yeah, and a lot of that also is, I mean, I saw a graphic the other day. I think it was on Saturday. Where that U.S. Grand Prix is the biggest generator for revenue for the city of Austin, and you have to think more about, like I was saying, about jobs and everything else. I mean, put the disdain for the city of Austin out of the picture here. You have to look at it more for normal people like us. I mean, it outdraws South by Southwest. It outdraws ACL. I mean, it outdraws. Obviously outdraws a lot of UT weekends and so forth with Texas football. So it's a really, really big loss and we, like I said Saturday, we know a lot of folks that go out there and do seasonal stuff, and from what I hear they pay okay. So it's rough, and this just goes back to where we need to support these tracks. I don't give a damn. I saw somebody saying the other day, because Bobby Epstein in his message was talking about how ticket sales were however many 250% over what they were the last time. And I heard folks saying, well, there were empty seats last year. That's great. All the seats can be empty, but if the seats are sold, you've done your job.
Yeah, it doesn't matter how many seats show up empty on the racetrack. There's a lot. We've seen it a lot before, where people, when we go up to different spots where people still have the suites, but they ain't hardly anybody in them, right? When we go up and sit inside the press box up at Texas Motor Speedway, we look a couple of doors down, and they'll see 4 or 5 people in a seat that sells, some of those suites end up holding 20, 25 people. Mm-hmm. That doesn't mean that those seats aren't sold.
Yeah.
They paid for the whole condo, so a lot of times they'll buy the big ticket packages.
Yeah, and that's we'll have to watch what's going to happen there, because I don't know. It's not looking good. They're going to need a massive 2021 to be able to I don't even know if they get to that point. That's really what I'm getting to. So we'll have to continue to watch that. Something else. This is not racing related, but I think it's something that we have to talk about, because all of us on a local and regional level does really hinge on what's happening with the major stuff. And this Miami Marlin thing, where you've got 13 players that are infected with COVID-19 after one weekend of baseball. I think the infections apparently came last the end of the week when they were in Atlanta. But when you have this, I mean, talking as college and NFL football fans, you get baseball in trouble. They're playing today. I mean, they're playing tonight, but you get baseball in trouble, and that could be Katie bar the door for every other league, in 2020.
Yeah. Yeah, no, if they end up seeing the infection rate go higher and higher, it's going to affect everything. It could even end up eventually affecting NASCAR, though NASCAR has been pretty good in their return to the sport. But, that doesn't bode well for football, both the college level and the NFL level.
Yeah, I really think what I would like to see is I'd like to see college football maybe scale this thing back just a tad bit to where they're going to maybe let the NFL, like we're doing right now here with Major League Baseball, let them figure out, let these guys figure out what's going to be the key to make this work, and then college football kind of coming in thereafter. I mean, let the pros be the guinea pigs. I mean, let the guys making the big money, let them figure out what's going to happen. But this definitely doesn't bode well if you have situations where you're going to have leagues shutting down. I mean, this is what caused all of this. I mean, when the NBA was the chain reaction to this whole mess.
It really was. I mean, when they came through, they shut down the NBA, shut down the NCAA tournament. I mean, that's all it's going to take is for somebody to realistically even to take something out of context, right? Even to take something, it could just be relegated to one pocket of people there at the Miami Marlins,
Yeah,
and not anybody else could be infected. But it's one of those where it's such a everybody's so sensitive about the COVID-19 stuff, and when we talked about it here and there, but all it takes is for one person to view that the wrong way with the right amount of power, and then that's done.
yeah, that's really going to be it. I mean, it's just a situation where you have to you have to think that hopefully and these guys are traveling, and that's I had someone ask me, as a matter of fact, this morning. It's like, why is Formula One not able to I mean, why are they canceling Mexico and Canada and Brazil and Austin? Why are they doing this? I mean, you have to figure in the travel. I mean, NASCAR is pretty well contained with the way they're getting to these events. I mean, NBA's in a bubble, but when you talk about Formula One and you're talking about baseball is taking a huge risk right here when they decide to play in all 30 ballparks, and that's same thing with Formula One. And can you imagine that? I mean, that's a lot of travel right there for that to happen. And now the Formula One schedule has changed.
Yeah, the Formula One schedule keeps changing. The IndyCar schedule changed a little bit today
Yeah,
with the announcements of a couple of more double headers. We'll get into that here in a minute. But I don't think people realize the logistics of Formula One. I mean, it's such a task to try to get those cars. You got to take the bucket load of cars over here. You got to bring the cargo planes over here, and then just the sheer number of people with the engineers. It just, you knew kind of from the beginning when they started putting travel restrictions to come from over in Europe to over here. You knew there was going to be a potential issue with all the Formula One races over here in North America, including the Canada one.
Yeah, and great point there about IndyCar. So Mid Ohio Gateway and the Harvest Grand Prix, those will become double headers. Portland, Laguna Seca are canceled. And that's all, it's going to depend on territories, and it's going to depend on local and regional and state conditions. None of this is really in anyone's control. And we had the folks, it's nothing new. I mean, you had some folks questioning the other day the Cotton Bowl decision, with them canceling that was a tough decision there. I mean, I think the South Texas one wasn't really a big question as to whether they were going to race or not. And it's it's a tough decision right now, and there's so many moving parts and pieces, and when you have to start canceling races and moving stuff around, whether it be on a national, regional, or local front, it's shoes that I don't want to be in right now.
No, I mean, it's hard enough to make the decisions on a local level. Not that you and I have ever had to make those decisions, but we've been in the meetings when those decision types of stuff have to get made, even with it something just as crazy as a random easy up hitting one of the main power lines to the tower. But it's something. I can only imagine the stress level on a gigantic scale that it is when you're trying to make stuff happen with a worldwide touring series like the IndyCar series. That deal today where they announced it. I mean, when you think about Portland and Laguna Seca, Portland trying to get Portland back up and running into a Labor Day weekend event, and then Laguna Seca, which has been a staple on the IndyCar series and the kart series forever.
Yeah, that's that's some big losses, and I can tell you it's probably not going to be the last ones. I mean that's going to continue to move around, and I saw that NASCAR this week, where's it? They announced that there'll be fanless races at I forget where that was in August, but that's coming up as well. So you kind of need to be prepared for that, and that's where it just goes back to us on a local level where we just gotta walk the walk, and whether you want to do it or not, kind of half-ass act like you're doing the right thing.
Yeah, well, especially this weekend, right? You got to wear a mask, got to social distance when you're down there at the Texas Short Track Racing Series event there in Houston. It's the Virginia can only preach it so much, right? Mask, 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 social distance, social distance, social distance.
Yeah, yeah. So definitely do that. And again, thanks to those folks for jumping on the program tonight and sponsoring the old shows. Kind of nice to have that happening. That's a pretty cool situation right there. And that's going to be a fun night out there at HMP. You'll have your NASCAR trucks, your NASCAR modifieds, your NASCAR outlaws. Eco stocks, the dwarf car is going to be there, the legacies, and really what it seems to be what the key is for that night is to have an efficient program, and that's really what needs to happen. I mean, you don't, if you want to go hang out afterwards, that's great, but you just need to get in, get the race done, and be done. It's really what needs to happen there.
Yeah, no, definitely the idea to get the races in and out, have that group of people together for a shorter period of time as they can be, let them enjoy their hot dogs and their adult beverages and stuff like that. But hopefully everybody keeps the race clean and you don't have a lot of cleanups that have to happen, and everything goes about as good as it could from opening night.
Mm-hmm. Great question there. Shane checks in and he's asking about TMS in October. I mean, who knows? I mean, it's so hard to tell. I mean, I don't know. It's like one day it's rosy, and the next day you've got Hurricane Hannah with no H coming through. I mean, that's really what it feels like. What we saw this weekend, that's really what it feels like with COVID. Hot as hell on Friday, and then you've got a torrential tropical storm and Category 1 hurricane coming through. That really kind of ties up 2020. So I don't know what's going to happen there. I mean, I don't think it's beyond a reasonable doubt that they don't have the October race. I don't know. I mean, I definitely hope that's not the case, but it's just it's a crapshoot right now, man.
Yeah, I'm telling you, I was going to say, let's just worry about having the October race to begin with. The fan portion, not so much as important as getting that race in, because that'll be when the playoffs get started.
Yeah.
Can you imagine what it's going to be like if one of the last minute playoff races get canceled or gets postponed?
And that's that's just another bizarre, thing that could factor into this. So I don't know, but we got baseball back, and basketball is doing their thing, and the WNBA is going, and at least everything momentum seems to be going in a direction where things are starting to feel like maybe we're trying to get back to where we needed to be, but we're just one hiccup away, like with the Miami Marlins. We're just one thing away from things getting derailed, and that crap trickles downhill, and at some point it gets to the local level. And again, that's why we need to kind of arm ourselves and just do. I don't care what the track is. I mean, just be prepared. Just be prepared and be ready.
Yeah, no, you always got to be ready. Just be flexible. We've been talking about being flexible the whole time. That's why you and I have been doing this show like this over Zoom for about the last 3.5, 4 months. So just got to learn to be a little flexible with everything.
Yeah. Question there, HMP. Yep, HMP is coming up. Texas Short Track Racing Series, August 1st. Big event put together by CarQuest. $1,000 to win for your mods, $1,000 to win for your trucks, $500 to win for the Outlaws, and it goes without saying, we've got some other people, just like it seems to work out all the time. Little Facebook Live the other day for the series, and we got guys throwing more money into this thing. So it's going to be a good night. Hopefully the cars show up and trucks and so forth, and you get a good program out of it. I can tell you, Gina needs a good strong one coming off of the 20th race back in June.
Yeah, no, I mean, after having both races end up being canceled at the last minute, I know that's not good for her. She needs to have as many cars as she can in the pits and needs to have as many people as the place will hold for grandstand admissions. So that's that's definitely number one. If you've been on the fence about going to a race, we know it's kind of a trek to get to Houston, but if opening weekend was any indication, the racing at H&P is going to be pretty good.
Yeah.
Come Saturday night, it might be a little hot, be a little slick, but if anything, the racing was really good on opening night back when.
Yeah, it really was. You had an abundance of modifieds, which I was totally surprised by, and a little disappointed with the truck thing. I mean, 6-7 years ago, I'd have been tickled pink with 12 or 13 or whatever it was. But I think there's more. But again, I know that times are tough, and it's hard to get your stuff out there. So hopefully with this little bit of extra money on the line, hopefully this is something that's going to ramp that up just a little bit, and that'll be super fun coming up. And we'll pop that graphic up once again. You can go to racedayprepay.com. You can actually get spectator tickets there. If you buy them there, you get a $5 discount. All you got to do is show up with your receipt, and super cool deal. Efficiency is the name of the game when it comes to that. Caden Honeycutt coming up at 7 o'clock, and then 7:30 we will talk to Ben Meklicek, and that's some good stuff. And each of them, Caden, there's something happening with Caden that we might hear about. I don't know if we're going to hear about it or not. That could come up. Ben's got something big to talk about, so this is going to be fun here coming up in the next 45 minutes to an hour.
Yeah, who knows what those kids will be dropping information on everybody. You just never know. It's always nice to know that we could be the place for breaking news as it happens, but that's who knows what's coming.
Yeah, no, really, really good stuff as we venture into a new week, and I think weather's going to cooperate. So I think we're actually going to have tracks racing. Stuff will happen again, and we haven't talked about it on here. I like the announcement the other day, Bobby, when it comes back to NASCAR that qualifying and practice, all of that will stay the way it's been, where there is none. I haven't seen a fire inside a race car in a long time, like Stenhouse had last week. So I think that's probably a byproduct of not having been on the track. But again, it just adds a little bit of the unknown.
Yeah, I mean, I still think for me the unknown portion is going to be the Daytona road course, and I'm kind of surprised they weren't allowing at least one test session for that to try to shake down those cars to find out exactly what's going to happen with those cars as they get on the banks. But it's weird. But anyway, like I said, we don't make those decisions. We just have to live with the ones that they make. So hopefully everything works out for the best.
Yeah, absolutely. Good stuff coming up as we work towards the end of that. And the thing about it, I mean, local tracks, local series, sanctioning bodies, and so forth. I mean, we are into the last. I guess you could say the last quarter of the season. I mean, it's an abbreviated season, and we haven't run near as much as we thought we were going to. But we're getting down to where track championships and season stuff is on the line. So I think things will ratchet up here as we get into the end of the summer right here. And I think we've got some good stuff that's coming up, not only around here, but just kind of around the country.
Yeah, no, I mean, lots of really good stuff that's happening at all the tracks that are open. Everybody's trying to run as many races as they can to try to get as many championship races as you can get in. I know that's why Houston's trying to pack in as many as they can get. But we've seen it all over the country. Looks even some of the super late model races are going to start stacking on top of each other, like the Winchester 400. You got the Peach State Classic coming up that got rescheduled. You got even the big national shows like the Indianapolis 500 moving until August the 23rd. So that race is still coming up. That I think will cap the end of the summer with the Indy 500 moving back as far as it is.
Yeah, and that's going to be so exciting to watch that. And IndyCar does need that little shot in the arm, I think, when it comes to the end of the season, because this has been such all the expectations, everything that we thought was going to happen for them, and not by their own means here, but the season has kind of fallen apart on them. The competition's been good, I mean, but you got Penske and Ganassi kind of taking care of business here, so hopefully Indianapolis is something where they can take that and move into a 2021 that is hopefully a lot more normal than what we've just watched here. So I think it's pivotal. I think it's hugely important that Indianapolis be a big deal. We continue to watch Kyle Larson. Kyle Larson just continues to win. And I really do wonder, Bobby, is he in his groove? I mean, if that opportunity to get back to Cup, if that comes up, I mean, you would think that he'd be crazy not to do it. But, I mean, the dude's loving life right now.
Yeah, I mean, you got to figure there's a lot of pressure on a Cup driver that you don't really think about. And obviously, with Kyle Larson, you've seen what the different pressures are. It seems like he's totally back in his own skin, really enjoying himself. Even before the whole incident where he lost everything, he just seems to be way more relaxed than he did before. Obviously, you know that the sprint car stuff is in his element, because when he went back and won the Chili Bowl, he said, sorry, NASCAR, sorry, Daytona, this is the biggest win of my career was the Chili Bowl. I think they kind of put it in perspective exactly how much he really thinks of the Cup Series.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I think it was very matter of fact the way he did that. And, I mean, I don't know. I mean, that's something that's something that remains to be seen. And I guarantee you that we can probably ask the guy that just hit the Revved Up Sports Show hotline, because this dude is back and forth, asphalt, dirt. I mean, just everywhere. Every time you turn around, he's on the racetrack. And glad to have him back on. It is Race Face developmental driver, dude on a roll, man. Dude doing a lot of good stuff right here from Texas. It's Caden Honeycutt. Caden, how you doing, man? Oh, forgot it again. Hold on. What a night. What a night. There we go. Race Face developmental driver. It's Caden Honeycutt on the Revved Up Sports Show hotline. How you doing, man?
I'm doing great. How about you?
Man, we are doing well. We're doing absolutely well. So it goes without saying, man. Look, you are staying busy as hell, it looks like.
Yeah, we are pretty much racing every weekend on dirt, but we're not asphalt racing, which is probably 80% of our year is dirt racing. So we've been racing every Friday and Saturday that we can.
That's awesome.
Yeah, Caden, I know I got to watch you race that late model race there at Heart of Texas. There, you were running pretty good, running up in the top two most of the night. What happened to end your night when you were running up there at Heart of Texas?
Well, we led just about till halfway, and we were racing with Bo, and we were getting in some light traffic, and I got back. He got by me with a slider. He did it right at the right time, and I just caught him back, and I tried to pull a slider. It didn't really work, so I had to buy my time a little bit. And then I hit some light traffic that I was trying to kind of pick out a little bit, and then I got to his outside. I was actually right at his front bumper, and I guess he didn't really see me, and he kind of just put us on the wall basically, and I kind of rode the wall a little bit and came back down, and the left front and right front suspension was just completely out of whack, and we had to replace the whole front end of the car. So it kind of ended our night there after we were trying to battle for the lead.
Oh man, what a way to end the night. Caden, I have to ask you, and this came up. This came up. I saw this yesterday, so it was totally something that I wasn't going to ask you. I mean, it looked like a good weekend for you on the track, but this IMCA point thing, and I know it's come up before, but I think you can really speak to it. I mean, you were totally snake bitten by this whole thing this weekend.
Yeah, it's just a hard thing to go and compete with. Really, it's, when you go to a racetrack every week, I'm not the person that shows up to a racetrack every weekend and just races the same place every time like most people do. And that was the case on Friday and Saturday. Friday we went to Boyd. Haven't been there in a couple of weeks, and we started last in our heat, started 10th in the A, and we ended up finishing second, but we had a really good racetrack that we were able to race with two groups. And Saturday we went to Kennedale, and that track, when it usually dries out, it goes to one place, one groove basically on down to the tires. And it's very frustrating when you had to replace the whole right side of your car and not be able to load it up till 7 o'clock for how hard you're working on it, and be there just in time for your heat race and go from last to first in your heat race, not even looking at the racetrack, to be put on the last 4 rows of the 20 car field. It's kind of frustrating. It's just, I'm not in really favor of that points average deal. It's basically what it is. You basically can start in park one week and be on the pole the next week and everything, and the heat race and the feature, no matter where you're finishing the heat. So, they really need to update their system, I feel like, and I know a lot of people feel the same way, and I feel like their USRA is going to start taking over more tracks just because people don't really like the way they work it. And I'm not the official speaker. I'm just stating my opinion on what I think of it. I know a lot of people think the same way too, so it'd be nice if they have something updated.
Absolutely.
So, Caden, we talked to some people before about when they like to travel like you do. What is it that determines which track you race at every week? Does it change by how many the car count's going to be? Does it change by the purse money? Or is it just a desire to want to go somewhere else? What is it for you and your team that makes you determine where you want to race on a specific weekend?
Well, I think if it's between me and Dad. It's just us two at the racetrack, so I make all the calls and adjustments and do what I want to do to the car, and he just helps me get it all together. and it just really depends on how far we feel like traveling. All the tracks usually pay the same amount of purse, about $405 in the winter. Just about every track you go to around here. Mostly we just like to go to different places. We don't like to stay in one racetrack. That's kind of boring. You just want to go race different people and find the competition and stick with it. And that's what we usually do. That's why some of the IMCA point average stuff, when people show up to the same track every week, kind of puts them in their favor. And it's just it just depends on what we feel like. If we want to travel 500 miles to go somewhere else, then we'll do it.
Yeah.
It's just wherever we would like to go, and wherever. And the late model series that we got, it goes to different tracks every Saturday, so we travel around there every Saturday for that.
Yeah. And so, Caden, and that's the thing with you. We'll get to the pavement stuff here in just a little bit, but I mean, you jump. There's late models, there's sport mods. I mean, we were just talking about Kyle Larson before you came on here, but I mean that. When you talk about versatility, I mean, that's what you're doing. I mean, you just jump in whichever car it is, you jump in, man, and it's straight to the front. I mean, speak to that. That's so impressive.
I mean, it's just very hard work, and what we're dedicated to. It's just, sim time and, making sure that you got all your I's dotted with your Q's and all that kind of stuff. And, it's just, I just like driving cars. Anything that's got 4 wheels on it, except the wing. That's the only thing I will not drive is a sprint car. It's not that I'm scared to. I just, it's different people in the past that I've met before. Jason Johnson was actually a really close friend of my dad, and fortunately, he's not here with us today because of a sprint car crash.
Yeah.
I just like to drive anything with 4 wheels on it. I'll go off-road racing. I'll go anywhere else you want me to go.
Nice.
I just like everything to go.
All right, Kane, so now let's talk about your pavement program. Obviously, the last year at the Derby had a really good qualifying effort. Don't know if you had the actual race results that you were looking for, but talk about the stress of the difference of running the Derby versus a normal weekend. A lot of people just don't understand all the stress that goes into that one race weekend to try to get that Tom Dawson Trophy.
Yeah, it's really, really hard. From the time you step into the pit area and by the time you hit the first practice, it's all business. It's no messing around. It's the biggest race in America, in my opinion. I like it better than Daytona 500, to be honest.
Yep.
It's if y'all want to see something crazy, all you people that are listening, y'all need to go and watch the Friday night qualifying. You will not see one driver that hasn't been nervous or thinking about maybe, I don't know if our car is good enough to make it or not, because you've worked on it all week, you've seen what everybody has, and it's just down to if you can make it happen or not. And last year we had a very good qualifying lap. So we actually probably could have qualified top 10 if I didn't mess up my second lap a little bit. But it's very, very stressful. As a driver, as myself, I try not to put too much pressure on myself. Going into last year's qualifying, I just saw it as another race to get into. As we were, I think we were the 53rd car to go out. We were the second to last car to go out, I think.
Yeah.
And it's all that, all that moisture in the air, the track temp, all that stuff changes. So you just got to keep up with it and not think about it and just go.
Yeah.
I think that's what a lot of drivers' problems are, is that they just think about it too much, and just instead of just doing it, not being afraid of messing up or anything like that. And it's very stressful, but I love it all. I love it. I love the pressure. I love the desire to go out and perform under pressure.
Yeah, absolutely. It was definitely last year that Friday. I mean, the whole weekend obviously was just the weather. The weather was definitely a factor. Then you get down there on the coast, and that even adds to it. Caden Honeycutt with us on the Revved Up Sports Show hotline. So let's talk about your pavement season to this point. Been pretty solid. Been some good runs. I mean, it's just everything you've been in has been really good. So your thoughts when you go, because I know the super late model series. I mean, we're talking about the Derby, but when you go from the Southern Super Series or late models, whatever, man, that's high pressure just all year. Do you embrace going to short track sometimes just to kind of let your hair down just a little bit?
I think so. I just like short tracks a lot. It's where I grew up at, and it's something that Southern Super Series, in my opinion, is one of the best series to run with. You don't really see, if you go back and look at results from like CRA results, Super Series results, and then you go and watch the Southern Super Series results, and you'll see all these different drivers, and you're like, whoa. The Southern Super Series drivers, these are guys that beat every year at the Snowball, at the All-American 400, the Winchester 400. It's just they're
near and dear to our hearts. I mean, we're pavement guys. When just from years and years of it, Caden. But man, money. It is so hard. It is so hard to sustain, a season in that stuff.
Yeah, it's very hard without a primary sponsor, without a doubt. They have like all these sponsors from NASCAR and companies around here that have never even seen NASCAR. It's very hard, and some companies have already been in the NASCAR business and don't want to do it again, and some just have no idea what it is. It's very hard to present that to them without putting them in the garage and showing them how much work it actually is to go and compete and how good it is for them for promotion on TV. And that's something you have to show to them every time you go and present something like that to a sponsor. And it's very difficult now. Fortunately, this weekend we actually got the funding to go around Donnie's car this weekend and at Five Flags. So I'm very excited about that and see what we can do with that. Definitely going to be working hard to find people and find a sponsor to go and run with them more at the end of this year.
Yeah, and we have to play this because that's our little breaking news thing right there, because we had heard that maybe that was something that was going to happen. But, I mean, how exciting is that? I mean, that's some good equipment right there to jump into one of those here for the Blizzard 75, I believe it is.
Yeah, so what we're going to do is that we are going to run heat races. And I'm actually not sure how that's going to work. I'm not sure if we're going to pill draw for our position or based on practice speeds or something. I guess we'll find out when we get there. But I'm pretty sure that heat races is going to change the whole strategy of your day.
Yeah.
It really is. It's
yeah.
like, well, did we sandbag it? Did we just save our stuff? Or, a lot of stuff can go into it. I guess we just got to see what Bubba does. Everybody goes off of him, so everybody will follow him. So,
yeah.
It's crazy. And I'm not sure how many laps that he races are. I'm pretty sure they're probably going to be like 10 or something like that. Not too long. So we'll just have to see. It's definitely going to be different. For me, for sure, I've never done anything like that. I've always done that in dirt.
Yeah.
You go out on a dirt track and you can just rub up against each other for the heat race. You can't really do that. And that's where you got to save tires. So that's something I'll have to learn. But it should be fun regardless, and a very good learning.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, Caden, you talk about when you run your dirt show that it's you and your dad, you go racing and you make the changes you want to make. Who do you go to in your super late model stuff? Obviously, JC Umscheid helped you for a little bit back there. You don't want Shane Turner to do your pill draw again for the heat races. But who do you lean to on stuff like that in terms of when you do your super late model program?
Well, Shane actually did all right since the track went down when we got out. So I'll give him that. I'll give him a pass on that. With the adjusting the super late, I really wish I've learned how to adjust supers and from JC and his dad David. We have our crew chief this past Blizzard race, two past Blizzard races where David Umscheid, his dad.
Nice. And
Jeff Foltz actually helped us on the last day, trying to figure it out a little bit. Fury does a very, very good job at, helping out their customers, and we are one of them. Not a certain new car. I mean, it's kind of old. Maybe that car was like 4 or 5 years old. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
So yeah, they do a very good job on helping us out, whatever we need. And it's just you got all these different people that you can go for help with, like from Brandon Ernest, Docs, JRI, and all those different people. You can go and ask them for help, and it's just there's a lot of people that can go for help.
Yeah, that's a good thing when you have a notebook with those guys. That's good. That's good stuff to go to. So let's talk about the race face developmental driver. Obviously, that's something that you are, and just great. They do a really good job where they keep up with everything that you're doing, and really good social media exposure and all of that. But talk a little bit about that. What's the potential of that opportunity?
So the greatest opportunity of that is being involved with the Friends of Jacqueline Foundation, and also building, and also learning how to brand myself, on social media and
right.
getting more followers. Anthony Alfredo is a perfect example of that. He's probably one of the best race face people out of all of us, for sure. And he's certainly, we're trying to follow him, and, he's coming up with the ideas on how to promote, and he's done a very good job. It's crazy is that people are actually calling Rod, the CEO of Raceface, to sponsor Anthony. That's how good of a job he does. So it's huge. And the thing with FOJ is that, so when we work with the sponsors, if you present them your marketing deck and how much it costs to race, and what the overall total will be. So that's how it works, is that 70% of that money would go to the driver.
Nice.
And all that, then the rest of that would go to FOJ as a donation, as 100% tax write-off.
Beautiful
for them. And it's a magnificent thing, man. It's See, I've personally adopted one of the kids, talked to pretty regularly, and he's only 12 years old, and he's had a bad brain tumor, and it can be any day. And he was in the hospital actually a couple days ago, and I checked on him, and he's actually back home, thank goodness. And he's doing a lot better. It's just a great thing being involved with FOJ, and that's just the greatest thing about it.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome, man. Thank you. That's beautiful.
Kane, before we came on, we were talking about one of the football players from Judson had lost his battle with cancer. But we were talking as the little kids, as the kids come up, it's like they don't know any better, and they tend to fight stuff better than the adults do.
Yeah, I think that's the same way for Jackson, to be honest. He works. He does everything in his power to do what he needs to do, and he excels at it, and it's a very great thing to see, especially for what he has to go through. And it's just great. I love seeing him grow every day, and it just makes me 10 times better just to help him out.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Quickly, Caden, something that you mentioned right there, I think it's so important. I think Bobby and I both, when we talk to young drivers, and you're doing an exceptional job of this, it's so important, I think, that guys, and I mean, you're young. I mean, you are very young. I think it's so important that guys need to market themselves and build a brand, and the social media positive stuff. I think that's so important right now, and you've got the talent to back it up. But that's so important in racing now, isn't it? Where, like, when your dad and a lot of us, when we were coming through this, it was like, we had no idea what that was. But now you're brand building, essentially, is what you're doing every day.
Yeah, and that's what you have to really do in life if you want to promote a business or places like that. It's not just racing that stuff happens. If you wanted to make your own business, that's what you have to do. Yep. It's the same thing with Ryder Raceface, and all of us promoted it enough to where he's actually getting more drivers and help and doing that type of stuff. And it's just not something that we see anymore out of NASCAR's new people, the new generation of NASCAR. They can just go up to the team and say, "Hey, how many races can we do for this much?" And they say, "Okay, this is what we're gonna do." And it's easy for them. They can put a fake sponsor on the fake logo on the car to make it look like it's a sponsor, but that's really not. Wow. That's the same thing with Kyle Busch and Venturini and all the market teams. It's not really a sponsor. It's them funding it out of their own pocket to run the race. And that's what it looks like, and that's what people don't see. And it's very frustrating for me to see that because that's not really real. That they didn't really work at to get their name out there and have a sponsor fund their racing, and that's what NASCAR was back in 2000s and 1990s and all those years. And that's something that you just don't see anymore. And I think if you can, and I know for sure that if you can promote yourself like Anthony does and do what he does every time you go onto the racetrack or not in the race car, you will have sponsors come up to you and ask you, can we sponsor him? Because that's exactly what's happening to him right now.
Yeah.
And he's going to get, he is possibly going to get more rides. He's going to get more races this year with RCR, and he's done an excellent job. He's done an excellent job at his races so far.
Yeah.
And it's just something that you gotta look up to, and rise to the level.
No doubt. No doubt. Well said.
All right, Caden, before we let you go, let's talk about your goals and stuff for this weekend. Obviously, you're running that car with Donnie. There's a little bit of added pressure, but you say you don't put the pressure on yourself. What's a good weekend for you? Solid top 15, a good solid top 10? Or maybe would it be a think out of the box for you to get a top 5 this weekend down there in Pensacola?
Straight honest answer to win. Straight on.
Boom.
Straight honest answer.
There it is.
And once we go on the first practice session on Thursday, it's all business. Head down and get the car the best we can to go win on Friday. I think if we can do that, we'll really make a statement and let them know that we are here and just go out and then it's not like that we haven't ran with them before. It's just something that they've never seen us run. So I've never seen personally run that well, and that's what I really want to show that we can do it.
Yeah, and that has to be. It has to be so exciting, Caden. because you've been good. We're talking about this now, but to jump into one of those, and Donnie, from humble beginnings back here in Romco and all this stuff here, he's got top flight stuff and a top flight wheelman right here, and dude, I think this is really going to be a nice little combination here this weekend.
Yeah, I'm really hoping so, and from what I've looked at their cars, and I've seen them perform very well, and there's no doubt we can run well.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Looking forward to it. Tell folks the best way. You got Caden Honeycutt Racing right there on Facebook, but other ways that everyone can follow along with you.
Go to my Twitter on at Caden Honeycutt 37. I started that Twitter account a couple days. Few months ago, and I'm still trying to get used to it. I'm not usually on the Twitter trend, but and then you go to my Instagram at Caden Honeycutt 37. Give up with daily, and then Facebook usually and Caden Honeycutt Racing on Facebook and my personal one, and we'll just hopefully we get good solid weekend.
Yeah,
see how we do.
No doubt, man. Looking forward to it. Congratulations, dude. It's so cool to. So cool to see one of our families here from Texas getting out there and getting after it, dude. It's super exciting, and just keep doing it, and maybe we'll get this IMCA thing figured out. I know they've been trying forever.
Hopefully that happens. I'd be pretty thrilled, so I wouldn't have to travel an hour and a half and 2 hours to go to different sanctioned racetracks. Hopefully we can get that going.
No doubt, man. No doubt. Good luck, man. We'll be cheering you on. Take that Donnie Wilson thing to victory lane.
We certainly will. Thank you guys so much, and hopefully everybody listening, thank y'all for tuning in, and hopefully we'll see you at the racetrack soon.
Yes, sir. We'll talk soon, man. Keep getting after it.
Thank you.
You bet. There he is, Caden Honeycutt. Dude's on a mission. Don't you like that, Bobby? What's a good weekend? A win.
Yeah. Well, that's what I thought. That's what I thought he was going to end up saying. That's when I said, "We jump out of the box and think you're going to get a top 5." And he's like, "I'm going to win."
Well, we've watched Donnie. Donnie's run extremely well there. We watched Roderick jump into those cars and do a really, really good job. And Caden Honeycutt. You have to. He's just good in everything. You get guys that maybe they're a little bit better on dirt, or maybe a little bit better on pavement, or whatever the case may be. But this dude just kicks their ass in anything. Hell, I want to see him go road course racing.
Yeah, he did. He was doing really good at that Waco race. Like you said, he got squeezed up in the fence, and I thought it was going to be a flat tire. I didn't realize that the front end was tore up as much as it was, but. He did put a pretty good clinic running through some of that lap traffic there in that dirt late model.
Yeah, he really He really, he really did, and to watch him and that IMCA thing. When I saw that last night, I mean, you know how I get. I mean, actually, our man John Alverson, you know, he knew that Caden was coming on. He's like, "Did you see that post?" And I had just seen it. I had just seen it, and I said, "Oh man, here we go." I said, "We have got to talk about that." But that's a little bit of a complicated system. I mean, it's one of those things, and he brings up a good point, and we can talk to Ben here when he comes on here in just a minute. But when you want to talk about USRA hot on the heels of IMCA's ass, that's just another way right there where it's getting a little. We're getting into a cart IRL situation is what's happening here. So hopefully all of this gets figured out.
Well, when the first track at the Metroplex comes to USRA sanction, that's when you know it's going to change up there. With all those IMCA sanctioned tracks, for one track to step outside the box and go USRA sanction instead of IMCA sanction, that's when, you know, if you have a track like Kennedale, which obviously I don't know if they would or not, but you get a track like Kennedale trying to come up and become IMCA or USRA sanctioned instead of IMCA, whew, that's when the Metroplex going to wake up right there.
Well, and that's really what it comes down to. I mean, we see this all the time. We see this all the time where you get a little lethargic, maybe you get a little lazy in your ways or whatever it is. And you know, they have been the only game in town. I mean, they have been the only game in town and around the country. And then boom, you know, you get lethargic, and here comes somebody that's doing things that kind of waking up the giant. So I don't know, man. That remains to be seen, but we'll follow that because he ruffled some feathers last night when he posted that.
He sure didn't he?
Yeah, absolutely. But we're going back to the hotline because it is Young Gun Monday. We come up with that after the fact as we sit here and talk to Caden Honeycutt. Now we're going to another one of our South Texas guys that, man, this dude is just another guy that's rolling, and he's got some stuff happening this week, but we'll get to that here at some point. On the hotline, it's now Ben Meklicek. Ben, how you doing, my man?
Doing really well. How are y'all?
We're doing good, man. We're doing good. How are you guys doing? I mean, tropical storms and all that. I mean, that's nothing to mess around with. Anything destroyed over there? You guys all good?
All good here in Corpus. We were pretty lucky that we were just on the north side of that Category 1 hurricane. I know some other towns farther south of us received a good amount of damage, but still thankful that we kind of missed it all here.
Good. Glad to hear that.
All right, Ben, before we get started with all the new stuff, let's talk about how you got to where you are. Obviously, you come from a lineage of some famous racers in the family. So was it just destined for you to be a race car driver, or was it just one of those you just had the option to and you decided you wanted to be?
Well, you know, I think my parents tried to keep me away as long as possible, but I think even they knew in the end I'd eventually be roped into it.
Yeah.
On my dad's side, the Meklicek, I'm a third generation racer, but you know, it gets a little more interesting. My mom's side, Hardcastle and Rollins, I'm actually a fourth generation racer.
Wow.
So my lineage kind of stretches back maybe a little farther than most. Well, I'm a latecomer with my first race at 16. I think all of their help and advice and knowledge has really helped me to get where I've become to get to the level where I'm at today.
Yeah, and you know, Ben, it's so funny because I grew up. I mean, I grew up on the pavement side, and it's only after the fact that I figure out, because I mean, obviously, you know, your dad. There was Jim and Lawrence. I mean, I knew those names, but to tie it all together, I mean, I had no idea of Billy Hardcastle and all of this. I mean, it just it seems unavoidable when you've got all of that. When you've got all of that, you're going to be a part of this sport.
Yes, sir, for sure. And my entire childhood is just full of going to watch races. You know, every different family member who raced, from Lawrence to, I never really got to see my grandpa's race, but you know, Lawrence and my dad and even Nick Hardcastle over there on my mom's side of the family.
Jeez, man,
it's been a huge part of my life for forever.
It's awesome.
It still is. I'm happy to be a part of this this racing community.
No doubt.
So Ben, which family gets on your case more when you mess up? That's all I want to know. Or have you not got to that point yet?
Well, I mean, I've definitely messed up. Don't get me wrong, but they take it pretty easy on me, I think. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's I take the good with the bad, and I'm always looking for ways to improve, whether it be some criticism or something I can do better. And I'll do the best that I can and try to plug it right in and go make a change, hopefully for the better.
Absolutely. So Ben, let me ask you, man, you've been tearing it up, and we're going to talk about that here in just a minute. But man, these factory stocks that you guys jump into, I mean, so popular. I love this class. I ain't gonna lie, I love this class. Somebody park one in my driveway right now. I would love to be a part of what you guys are doing. But man, what is it with these cars, you guys? I mean, so many great drivers like yourself and Faulkner and I mean, so many of them, but just so popular. And you guys, just great shows wherever the factory stocks are.
Yeah. You know, I've heard a whole lot of different theories about why they're good and why they're really taking off this year, but I think everyone's just starting to realize the level of talent in this class, and really the racing is also competitive. No matter where these factory stocks race at, they're always going to put on one of the best shows of the night, regardless of the other classes or who's even driving the other classes.
Yeah.
I think it really shows the strength of this class. You know, the tracks around here in the South Texas area, we have raced more big shows this year than we ever have before. Yeah. With Owen Pittman over there and Edna doing a great job, and South Texas Speedway down here, especially for their 1500 to win show, which brought in an insane amount of competition. And just really, really thankful and humble that we were able to do good against all those great guys like Dalton and Donald Kane. Yeah,
that's two of the great ones, really, really good ones right there. I have to ask you about that Edna show. So I got to go announce that, and man, what a night, man! That was a highlight for me. So Lawrence wins, and I mean you were there. I mean, not that it was going to be you two guys for the win, but Lawrence wins. He goes to victory lane. You know, hair everywhere. The way that dude needs a haircut. Guy needs a haircut. But regardless, for crying out loud. So he said that you helped him so much to get that old car put together. He said, again, Lawrence probably underselling it, but he said he really didn't have an idea, but he really gave you a lot of credit for making that car fast.
Well, that's what I heard. I was kind of upset at myself for making that mistake, which I did, and he always undersells himself. He's such a great driver and a class act.
Yeah.
I helped him, with the smaller stuff and some ideas, and really though we kind of combined our minds and put together a fast machine and prove that, with a driver as good as him, we can take anything out there and go win a race and be competitive.
Yeah, no doubt.
So Ben, is there any intimidation when you get out there to race those factory stocks? Like you said, that show at Edna had an unbelievably large number of cars, and I think there was a B main too, or two B mains to get in. Yeah. 2 B mains. I mean, so I mean, is it one of those where you have the confidence and the knowledge of a race car to know that it's going to be good, or when you show up at a racetrack with that many cars, do you say, oh man, we might have to run the B to get into this A feature?
Well, I'm confident in my abilities, but I'm always nervous, whether that's waiting and staging or just trying to figure out what kind of change to become faster. The nerves and adrenaline are always there affecting me, but really for me to get over that hump, it took my first win at South Texas last year, where I really kind of figured that I kind of belonged in this class and can be competitive. And before I was thinking, we'll have to run a B main, and even doing good then, we'll start pretty deep in the field. And now I feel like if we have to run a B main, we'll make it through and still try to be as competitive as we can in that feature. Mm-hmm. Luckily we haven't really had to run any B mains this year. We've had lots of luck and success in heat races. And it's just riding this luck and everything it's working really good for us right now.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
And let's speaking of that, I mean, because it really is. I mean, we're posting all these pictures of we've got this graphic up where you're in victory lane all the time. But this is really how tough was it for you? Because last year, I mean, you were springboarding off a really really good end of last year. I mean, it's just an enormous amount of features that you won at the end of last year. You start this year and then it just comes to a stop. I mean, but you've picked up where you left off. I mean, that's pretty damn impressive, man.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, last year we had a whole lot of success at a I-37 Speedway. I think winning 10 out of 11 or 12 features to close out the year there, and we were poised for an even better season this year, and then unfortunately the Corona outbreak kind of put a standstill to racing everywhere. But we managed to get a win before Corona at that cool USMG show.
Yeah.
And then had to wait a long time, and we were always ready. We were always antsy. Couldn't wait to get back out there and go after it again and see what kind of improvements we could make to become even faster.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then it kept on working out from there. Didn't do great we had a little piece break the first night back out. Yeah. But then that next night back out, we won it, and our confidence was right back where it should be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I believe it. Very impressive.
So Ben, there was a rumor that you had some news that you might wanted to break on this show. I don't know if Rodney's got it queued up or not, but that was the rumor that I heard in pre-production meeting this afternoon. So, what's some of the big stuff you got planned coming up here in the near future?
Yeah, this weekend.
All right. Well, I have I think one or two things actually.
Nice. I knew of one.
So
good.
So this weekend we're gonna make the trip to Boot Hill for the big 10K race, Louisiana. Never been before. This will be the biggest race I've ever been in so far, and while I have no expectations for how we do, I think long term it'll help me become a better driver and just help me to develop and we've kind of been restricted on traveling and stuff, and I think it'll be all in all a fun and successful trip.
Man, that
King of the Hill. That Rodney, you want to talk about a crazy factory stock race? You talk about all the big dogs are coming up there.
And how I mean, just thinking about that, Ben. You man, when they call it the King of the Hill, I mean that's a huge thing. And I mean, seriously, you have to just from your resume of what you've done. I mean, you're not just showing up. I mean, you are a legit contender before you even get there. Thoughts on that?
Well, thank you. I mean, I think you have a little more confidence than I do in myself right now, but I don't want to put any kind of added pressure on myself, but at the same time, I'm pumped and thrilled, and I feel like we can go do good. I just don't know how good.
Yeah.
We've had a lot of people help out, this week and every entire season as we keep on getting more intertwined with this factory stock class, and without like the TTR crew and Donald Kane and everyone else, making this trip wouldn't be possible.
Yeah.
But I'm just super humbled that the community and these people have come together to help me out, and they believe in me to go get this done, and it's an awesome feeling.
Oh, I bet. A little bit jealous. That's so. Hell, I'm a little jealous that I can't be there, to be honest with you. But it's all good. It's going to be good. Sorry, Bobby.
So that was one. He said he had two. What's the second one, man? Don't leave us hanging like that.
All right. Well, this probably isn't any kind of big, breaking news, but this is my last year in this current car.
Oh.
The new hot shoe coming up. My younger brother Hudson Miklinchuk will be taking over this ride next year, and he's poised for a strong season as well.
So what are you doing? I mean, we have to. I mean, it's hard to walk away. I mean, because I think that's the beauty of this class, Ben, is you can go run everywhere. I mean, you can go to all these different places, and these things are so popular. And I really think what draws these in. I mean, for me, I'm old. They look like stock cars, and that's. I want to run one of these series on asphalt. I want to have a factory stock asphalt series. I'm saying that because I know there's a lot of people watching, so I'm saying that right now. But so what are you going to do?
Well, this is the first time most people have heard about this, but I'm actually going to be attempting to drive 2 classes next year. Some USRA or Architect Spec with the new car, and then we're going to try our hand in the sport mod class as well.
Sweet.
Hoping to make an impact there as well. And I mean, I don't expect it to be, right off the bat. It'll be something that'll take time and hard work and dedication to, but I think we can be a competitor in that class as well.
So you plan to win by the 3rd night, is what you're saying?
Well, that'd be awesome, but that sport mod class is just as tough.
Yeah.
Lots of great drivers in that class as well.
Yeah, no doubt. Man, that's exciting.
Yeah, it's very exciting. We don't have all the details quite worked out yet, but we know what we're trying to do, and we're going to do our best to make it happen.
Love it.
It's nice to have options when you're young, right, Rodney? I mean,
Yeah.
just I'm gonna race over here, but yet I'm gonna try to kick some ass over here.
Yeah.
I mean, that's good. It's nice to have options. That means that you probably have a better shot at winning the King of the Hill than what you thought about 20 minutes ago. That's what that means, Ben.
I don't know what to say. I mean, I'm gonna go do my best, and
Yeah.
Been out trying to take the leader again, like I did in Edna that one time. You never really know what kind of hand you're gonna be dealt.
Yeah.
But
yeah, and Ben, what is it? I was having this conversation with somebody the other day. I mean, it's like down there in Corpus, that things kind of float under the radar a little bit because, yeah, I mean, we're talking about your family, we're talking about the Hardcastles, but there's so much talent. Now we've got this young group of drivers, yourself, and we've talked to Triton and I mean Jared Barber. I mean, there's so many really, really good racers down there. What in the hell do you people eat down there? Because Corpus Christi is, man, y'all are good, and you don't get the credit for it. I think people just don't realize.
I mean, I would agree with that. I think we're the youth of racing down here is definitely a little under the radar, but I don't know if that's such a bad thing.
Yeah.
When we travel to these pros, no one's expecting us to do good, so we have less pressure on ourselves. And then when we do good, it's kind of a really rewarding feeling. You can go here and do good, and people start to notice you. And last year I had no idea. I would never thought I'd be on any kind of radio talk show. With y'all talking about factory stock racing.
Yeah.
And even Mr. Phil Whipple last week or 2 weeks ago writing that awesome article about me.
Yeah.
It's kind of unbelievable.
Yeah. So. How'd you enjoy talking to that Yankee? He talks a little bit different than the rest of us, doesn't he? Jeez. No, he's a good guy. But so seriously, with the King of the Hill, I mean that's going to be a huge thing. So what's I mean, when do you guys? It came together fast? When are you guys pulling out of here? When are you going? I mean, how's this all going to work out?
Well, we're thrashing. We were kind of hesitant if we had time to stop and make this phone call with y'all real quick. But we're thrashing, getting this car together. We're trying to leave, Thursday morning, bright and early, and get up there for time trials.
Yeah, I love it.
For any kind of spare time we have, we're spending up here at the shop, working as hard as we can.
Yeah, no doubt.
Well, Ben, just remember us if you do quite well. When the announcer talks, you say we had the good luck charm with the guys from the Revved Up Sports Show.
Yeah.
If you get your top 5 finish up there, just remember you talked to us before you went up there.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Man, we are so proud of that. I kind of heard that announcement was coming, and that's super cool. You mentioned Donald Kane. I know that he's kind of been helping with all of this, and that's another one of those guys where he is really, really good. And man, just proud of your class and proud of you. You guys, you guys steal the show, and that's impressive with the New York class.
Yeah, we're definitely an up and coming class, and before I was kind of regarded as a beginner class. It definitely jumped into the limelight and spotlight here in town.
Yeah,
it's kind of one of the, if not the main event that fans are coming to see, especially down here in South Texas.
Yeah. When they told me there were 55 of y'all there at Edna that night, I was like, what? So yeah, really, really good stuff. Dude, keep doing it, man. You're carrying both of those famous last names down there in Corpus, and we're gonna be cheering you on, man. That's love it. I just love that you're gonna be down there, and we're excited for you.
Thank you so much. Let me take some time to thank some people real quick.
For sure. Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Well, I'm calling from the Star Ranch compound here, and I'm thankful that they're allowing me to use their one house phone. They just got their electricity back with that backup generator.
Man. Nice.
They got hit a little hard from the storm.
Damn it.
Hurricane relief down there. But Darpro Construction, CC Weighing Company, KH Suspension, Bay Motorsport, Ace Automotive Machine, MMI, Dub's Garage, and Ace Transmissions. And, there's so many people who I don't listed that support us and make this whole thing work out.
Yeah.
Super blessed and super thankful, that they allow me to be in this position to go and have fun and travel and to do what I love here at racing. Yeah, that's beautiful. That's a beautiful thing. Unleash the 13M, my man. Show them how we do it in South Texas. And yes, sir. King of the Hill. That's it wouldn't be a bad title, man. Would not be a bad title. Go get him. That'd be a dream come true. Thank you, sir. Yes, sir. Absolutely. Take care, man. Give him hell. Thank you. Y'all too. You bet. There he is. You notice these young guys, they don't lack confidence. They don't question anything. I mean, it's like they got balls of steel. It's pretty much what it comes down to.
Well, see, they have confidence, but yet they're not cocky, because confidence is being able to back up your cockiness, right?
That's totally right. I mean, and both of these young guys and seriously, when we talked about guys that were having big weekends, I mean, you got a guy that's going to jump in some of the best super late model pavement equipment in the country and going to race out at Five Flags, and he's talking about winning the race. And then you've got Ben Meklicek here that's just rock solid, and he's on a mission to go there too. I mean, we didn't ask him what's a good result, but I mean, the guy's got to think that he's going to go there and be able to win that damn race.
I mean, there's a shot. You thought there was a lot of factory stocks down there at Edna that weekend. This one, and I think it's going to be broadcast from our friends over at Race on Texas.
Oh, nice. There you go. So that'll be good. I mean, it's just going to be an exciting weekend for both of these young guys, and again, we talk about a family sport with racing and so forth, and you got the Honeycutts, you got the Mikliceks, the Hardcastles. I mean, it's people that are still doing what they've done forever, and I expect really good results from both of these young dudes coming up this weekend. I wholeheartily believe that they're both going to do really well.
Yeah, I mean, both of them got the equipment and the drive, and good news is, if they do well, they'll be right back on the show to talk to us and tell us about their weekend.
That's exactly right. Either one of those or both of them happen to win those races, we'll be redoing this show coming up next Monday at 6:30 Central right here, Rev'dUpSportsShow.com, on Facebook Live and on YouTube. Don't forget, again, a big thanks to the NASCARHouston.com, along with the Texas Short Track Racing Series, Advance Auto Parts, the NASCAR Weekly Racing Series presented by Advance Auto Parts. We jump back at it on the asphalt coming up 7 o'clock on Saturday at HMP. Gates open at 6, gates open at 5. If you go to racedayprepass.com, you get advance tickets there. So it's going to be a great weekend. It's going to be a great weekend. I think the weather's going to hold out nice, and let's pack that Houston place. CarQuest is throwing money at this. Advance is throwing money at this. There's other sponsorship announcements that are coming up, for some of the extra money. So I think it's going to be a really great weekend down in Houston, up in Houston, over in Houston, wherever the hell.
Over in Houston, whichever way you want to talk about it. But I'm looking forward to it. Like I said, the opening night jitters was not as apparent over there as it was, as the race was really good. I'm expecting it to be hot and heavy this weekend, this Saturday night at 7 o'clock.
Yeah, Gina was a little concerned with that first night show, and we go back, and you know how it is. I mean, you just start breaking stuff down, and you find things that you're not happy with. But it was a really good. Really well presented show, I think, and I think that there's going to be people. If you're going out there, you got to wear a mask, and I mean that's just this day and time. I mean, whether you like it or not, I mean that's one of those things. So have it with you, and we'll say. I'll tell you this off the record, but on the record, even if you're not going to wear it, have it in your pocket, just in case that you probably should. But good show coming up down there in Advance Auto Parts and CarQuest and TechNet and Die Hard. Just a lot of folks. Mike Cooper there with Advance doing a lot of really special things to help get this put together. Then August 15th, you do it again. But and again, these guys. I mean, the Benz race. I mean, that is one. That is one that if I were not going to Houston, I would go to Louisiana for this. I would go to Louisiana. I just love that class. I love those cars and just such great talent that you see behind the wheel.
Oh man, that King of the Hill race is one of the solid races. If you get a chance, they got a little package there, a race on Texas that shows the highlights from last year's King of the Hill. But that place will be rocking. The cars would be full in the pits. $10,000 to win. You can't get much better than that.
And not BSing around. I mean, factory stocks on pavement. Obviously, you don't want to steal any thunder from anything that the dirt tracks are doing. But those cars would look really nice on pavement. You're running asphalt pull-offs, a little air in those tires. It could be something really, really cool, guys. Could be something really, really cool. We want something that looks stock back on the track again on pavement, because the Outlaws do not look stock or don't look like what we want. The gap there from the Houston Pro Stocks has been missing for a long time, so it could be something that could work. So,
and if you really think about it, a purse is not all that expensive to come together for a race for one of those.
Purse will come together really, really quick when the abundance of these cars that are out and about right now. And the whole thing is got to coordinate with dirt. I mean, it's not a matter of taking anything away from any dirt tracks. It's a matter of coexisting. It can happen. It can happen. Glad we have a big audience, because, again, throwing out my deep, dark secrets here that I have once, when the mic's off. So, anyway. Mic's off.
It happens.
Mic's off and the beer's flowing. That's when I have these good ideas. But, anyway, factory stocks on pavement. Let's make it happen. But man, good stuff tonight. And let's go back to Caden Honeycutt. I mean, we've watched him, and we talked to him before when he was really he didn't have the developmental deal quite going at that point. But now we can go back where Caden was talking about, and I think it's so important for young racers to what he was talking about building a brand and social media presence on a positive standpoint and so forth and so on. We can go back and compare his first interview with us to this one. He's polished.
Totally different.
Polished.
And the first one wasn't bad. The first one that he did wasn't bad.
No. But I remember, I do remember the first time we talked to him, there was a little bit of, any idea what we might talk about? Not even a question. This time it's like 7 o'clock, I'll call you. And it shows.
And I'm going to win that race. Yeah.
That's
the
it.
confidence is there now, too.
Yeah. I mean, it's totally there. Getting in top flight equipment, and really good show. Really good show. And I think that this program right here is just another one where it tells us that the health of Texas racers, Texas short track racing, whatever you want to call it, is in really, really good hands, because we've got guys like Ben Meklicek and Caden Honeycutt that represent our state that are doing really, really well and are going to be on primetime stages and have the potential to do exceptional things. And that's what we need to keep happening. And there's a lot of talented drivers in this state.
There are, and we try to get as many as we can on here. But don't forget, with all the advertising money that's floating around, we can make an advertising plan that works for you and a budget that works for you too. I love that line. We got to get that commercial back up and running, don't we?
Especially if your budget is high. I'm just kidding. I know that money is. That's not the time to crack that joke. But anyway, yes, absolutely. We can get you something put together if you'd like to sponsor this show monthly, if you'd like to sponsor this show one time. It doesn't matter. We can definitely throw you something together. RevvedUpSportsShow@gmail.com. Message Bobby on Twitter @Bobby Chaffee. I'm at the Rodney R. We can definitely get you all exposed here. Get you all exposed. That sounds bad. But great
in a good way.
Yeah. Great program here on a Monday night, talking to a couple of the young guns that are going to be venturing off. I mean, these guys are flapping their like when you set the bird free and they fly their wings or whatever you say. Got a couple of young ones here. What's Caden? I think Caden's 16 and 16 and Ben's 19. I think it is 18 or 19. So and I like how Ben said, you know, I started a little bit later, which I guess he did, and you have to think about that. Between the Hardcastle and the Miklicek name, he did start a little late, but...
He did start a little late, but Lawrence, I don't think had L87 up and running then like he does now.
Yeah, but I guess it's something that's just kind of ingrained in him because he started late, but hell, he's made up for the late start because he wins every damn time. And again, Corpus, don't sell Corpus short. Our thoughts and prayers are with everyone down there in Corpus, you know, getting through Hurricane Hannah without an H, Category 1 hurricane that blew in there. But really good racers down there, and we keep seeing them. You think about Yeomans and all of these guys, Shorty Rollins and Labantes and all these guys, Rick Rapp, that have come through, but you got a whole nother bunch of them and really, really good ones.
Yeah, no, there's a whole bunch of good ones down there. A lot of them are making new family names. The other ones are just the same family names with the next generation up and running and ready to go.
That's exactly right. Carrying on those winning names and all of that good stuff. It's happening down there in Corpus Christi. Thanks, everybody, for checking in on the show. And thanks to Caden Honeycutt and Ben Miklicek, and good luck to those boys as they go out there and make us look good.
That's right. That's the best thing. The young kids making us old men look good.
Absolutely. Good stuff. Go out and find a local short track this week. Weather's going to be good, so I think everything's just going to be fine. Bobby, have a great week, my man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You do the same. Happy trails to everybody out there in Radio Land. So.
Absolutely. We will give it hell. Check it out on the socials at RevvedUpATX on Twitter and Instagram, and, of course, right here on Facebook, Revved Up Sports Show. For Bobby, I'm Rodney. We'll catch you guys next week. Be nice to someone. You never know what they're going through. You're going to feel better as well afterwards. We're back at it next week. See you at a racetrack soon. This is the Revved Up Sports Show from Texas. So that was totally my connection because, because I had noticed, I think it was yesterday, like the TV would kind of half-ass freeze up just a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And whenever all that started happening, I mean, it was like I could tell that I was delayed in your ear because I would talk, and normally it's like you're right on with me. So I could tell it was freezing. Then the connection dropped for just a second when you said that we dropped. And I moved it to the hotspot, and everything was fine. So
well, part of it, I've been trying to have the races on in the background, even though nobody apparently pays attention to the races that are on in the background, like on the TV.
Yeah.
And I put it on the Roku instead of the Xbox, because the Xbox is hardwired in from the it's a direct wire back to the modem.
Yeah.
So it doesn't really have an effect on whether or not the wireless is running. Well, I ran it on the Roku, and the Roku's wireless.
No, it was.
And I think that was part of that too.
It was here. I think it was mostly here, but it worked out because when I switched it over, we were totally good. So anyway, I think on the audio side, and something was thrown off because like when we first started on the audio, yours wasn't hitting, and then that's why I changed that cord. So I don't know what the hell that was all about. So. Anyway.
That's weird. Well, I didn't know you started a second Facebook feed.
Well, see, because it dropped. It dropped. It dropped. When you said that you had lost me, it dropped. So anyway, seemed to work out okay, though.
Numbers were damn good on that second one.
No shit.
Them Corpus guys bring good numbers.
I know, man. I know. It's good stuff. But anyway.
I didn't realize he was a Hardcastle, too.
You know, where did I see that? Somebody had said something about that, and I totally forgot about that, but him good.
He